Okay, we'll call the regular meeting to order. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our regular meeting, and especially as well for our residents who are viewing online. So the agenda is there before you. Can I have a motion to approve, please? Moved by Councillor Bruce King, seconded by Councillor Crawley. All those in favour? Those against? Motion is carried. Minutes of the meeting from July 26th. Are there any errors or omissions?
No, one that I know. No, that I know either.
We're all good? Okay, the table will adopt them as presented. Business arising. No business arising. Okay, we will move on to the mayor's update. I have a few items here, and first of all, folks, I want to apologize for the length of time that I used under the mayor's update at the last meeting, but I thought it was essential that we clearly and articulately explain how our water system works throughout the town, and so I thought it was necessary. Unfortunately, went on a little bit long, and I took the floor for almost a half hour because I had other points as well. So please accept my sincere apologies for the time it took. And hopefully now I can cut it down half the time this evening. Okay, as we're all aware, last week we heard the sad news of the sudden passing of our former MHA and friend Tom Henderson. Tom represented our district of Harbour, Maine for several years, and myself and council had a great working relationship with him during that time. And much work in our town got accomplished because of his support. On behalf of council, staff, and all the residents of Holyrood, we extend sincere condolences to his family during this difficult time. So in acknowledging his passing, I will ask that everyone stand and pay a moment of silence to our friend, Mr. Henderson. Thank you very much. Okay, on another note, throughout the summer, I observed, and I'm sure you all have as well, the high volume of quads and side-by-sides traversing throughout our town, particularly on the rail bed and along the new and improved boardwalk. And I had to say, I haven't had one single complaint from anyone. And from what I observed, the operators were very responsible and mindful of their surroundings, especially approaching pedestrians on the boardwalk. On your behalf, I want to extend a big thank you to these operators for respecting our town and pedestrians, especially along the rail bed. It really goes to show that both can coexist. I also want to extend another thank you to our residents for complying with the recent fire ban that was imposed over the past few weeks. Conditions were extremely dry and the fire risk was at extreme levels. In speaking with the fire chief, they only had to deal with a couple of minor incidents in which residents didn't really understand the conditions of the ban and were quick to extinguish their fires. I will say our fire department were on high alert during that time and thankfully never had any serious incidents to deal with. So once again, thank you to our residents for their patience, understanding and compliance. On another positive note, I want to extend a big congratulations to one of our up-and-coming hockey stars, 16-year-old Anna Penny, who was recently selected by Hockey NL to compete at the upcoming Atlantic Challenge Cup to be held this October in Moncton, New Brunswick. They will be competing against Nova Scotia, PEI and New Brunswick. Anna is the daughter of Rod and Stacy Penny, who live here in Holyrood. So we wish Anna and her team all the best of luck in this competition. And finally, I want to take a moment to update residents on the poor cell phone coverage throughout the town. I'm pleased to inform everyone that Council had a meeting via Zoom yesterday evening with 2 representatives from Bell Mobility, which is the company who owns the communication infrastructure and the cell towers. So we had Mr. Paul Green, who was the Senior Advisor of Network, and Isabel Boulay, Senior Manager Government Affairs Atlantic, who was online from Fredericton, New Brunswick. During the 1-hour meeting, we implored the necessity of making improvements to their infrastructure to better serve their customers. While it was a cordial and respectful meeting, I will say we were very forthright and direct in our persistence for better service to our area. While Holyrood is not exactly on the top of their priority list for expansion of cell service improvements outside of infrastructure within the next 3-year cycle, Mr. Green said he would be putting in an immediate request this morning to commence a performance review on the 2 cell towers and will report back with their findings. Further, in an email sent to Council today, he said he sent a brief of the meeting yesterday to his performance engineering and experience group to analyze the coverage and performance from the sites serving Holyrood, and will provide a synopsis of when it's complete. He anticipates within 2 weeks. He also said the Senior Manager of RF Engineering has also been informed and will be helping to analyze the findings to determine the next steps. So that is a starting point in helping to identify any problems that could exist with their infrastructure. They received the message loud and clear that we will remain steadfast on working on behalf of residents in our pursuit for better service. So that's the Mayor's update. Any questions or comments? No, we're all good? Okay. Correspondence. We do have one piece of correspondence here, and this came in via email. We have received a petition from residents and cabin owners on the Salmoneer line across the TCH with regard to the ongoing boundary change feasibility study, acknowledging their opposition to possibly being incorporated within the Holyrood boundary. This petition has also been forwarded to the consulting firm LW Consulting Group, who have been commissioned to undertake this study. This petition has been duly noted and entered into the public record. Okay, any questions on that? All right. So now we'll move on to planning and development. Who's taking the lead? Deputy Mayor Woodford.
Good evening, everybody. The Planning and Development Committee met on August the 19th via Zoom. There were 8 applications reviewed at the time, 4 of which are going to go to motion this evening. We've recommended for motion this evening. The other applications required additional information. For example, we may have to reach out to a provincial government agency for information. We may need to approach legal. We may need to send out an advertisement for discretionary use. Once those things are completed, the applications will come back to the table for our next planning and development meeting. Other than that, we'll move forward with our motions unless Steve, you have any?
That's
You're
perfect,
good?
Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, okay. Our motions this evening then, we have our permit listing first. Be it resolved to table and approve the attached permit listing. There were 22 permits issued from July 20th to August 12th, 2022. Permit number 07-0094-22 to 08-0113-22, and include permits for new residence, site prep, accessory building, extension to residential, general repairs, occupancy, and fences. So moved.
Okay, moved by Deputy Mayor Woodford, seconded by Councillor Crowley. Further discussion? If not, all those in favour, Councillor Munn, motion is carried.
The next motion is for 40A Brophy's Road. It's residential proposal. The zoning is RLD1. Be it resolved to approve the above application in principle under Regulation 10 and subject to the Town of Holyrood development regulations. So moved.
Okay, moved by the Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Windsor. Further discussion? If not, all those in favour?
Yep.
Those against?
It is a backlot development. No, it's going to be, they're going to have their own road going into their property.
Yeah. Okay, so anybody opposed? We just called for yeas. Councillor Bucko,
No, I'm in favor.
you're in favour? Okay. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Those against, the
Aye.
motion is carried.
The next motion is for 7 Highland Park. The proposal is for an amateur radio antenna. The zoning is residential medium density. Be it resolved to approve the above application in principle, subject to the Town of Holyrood development regulations. The applicant will not be permitted to add any extension or other attachments to the town, no, should be to the tower, without further approval from the town. So moved.
Okay, moved by Deputy Mayor Woodford, seconded by Councillor Sadie King. Further discussion? If not, all those in favour, those against, motion is carried.
And finally, the last motion is on the south side towards Duff's east side. It's closer to the boundary line between, I guess, Holyrood and Seal Cove, just back from that. The proposal is Crown Land Referral. The zoning is rural. Be it resolved to refuse the above application, subject to the Town of Holyrood development regulations. So moved.
Okay, moved by Deputy Mayor Woodford, seconded by Councillor Bruce King. Further discussion?
Sure. Let me grab my minutes. That's okay. It's all in the minutes there. But this is an application for, to grow crops for farming, I guess, in the area, which in the future may encompass the rest of the CBS bypass road. So right now, we're reaching out to the Minister of Transportation just to see where that is. And we don't want to approve anything in that area until we know, we don't want anything to encompass that area, so we can't put that through if it needs to go through, or when it's going to go through.
If I can elaborate a little further on that, a few years back, myself and the CAO had a meeting with the Minister and his officials. And as part of that meeting, we did mention that the fact that Holyrood is growing right now. We only have one trunk road going through the community, and we know that that can become heavily congested, especially on the weekends in the summer. So in looking forward, and again, this is something that would be considered probably in 20, 25 years down the road, or it could come sooner depending on how fast the town grows, that, you know, there should be a buffer zone from where the CBS bypass ends off now, right up to the industrial part to connect with the Trans-Canada. And that will take much pressure off Conception Bay Highway, as the case right now with the Peacekeepers Way. All right, if you don't need to go down through CBS, you can use the Peacekeepers Way, especially trying to get to St. John's. So this is something that we're looking forward to long into the future. And if we start developing that property in that said area, we could end up choking off that proposed buffer zone, and that could be extremely problematic down the road, pardon the pun, when we go to develop that particular road. But again, it's not something, you know, over the next few years. It's as the town grows and on an as-needed basis, then that will be. So the minister at the time was very receptive to that approach, and we will pick up that meeting because it is a new government now, and we will pick up that meeting in the future and put that in their ear as a friendly reminder again. So that's basically the reason for.
That's one of the reasons
The
for it. The
proposed-
other reason is that, you know, it's a farming type of area, it's a residential area, it's a cart road, yeah. It's a cart road that's going in there, so it's a lot of different, it's more than one reason that we haven't moved that forward tonight.
No, thank you.
Okay, all those in favor of that motion, please raise your hands. To reject, all those against.
Curtis?
Councillor Buckle,
I agree with the motion, in favor.
okay. Motion is carried.
And that's it for me, Mr. Mayor.
Did we jump
No, one more there,
number
Deputy Mayor.
letter E, 7 Tank Road?
Oh, I didn't do 17.
Sorry. Thank you.
You missed one.
No, missed one. This is, the location is 7 Tank Road. The proposal is an extension to the current home. It's residential medium density. Be it resolved to approve the above application in principle under Regulation 10 and subject to the Town of Holyrood Development Regulations. So moved.
Okay, moved by Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Crawley. Further discussion? If not, all those in favor, those against, motion is carried. And just to make one quick correction there on the prior motion, that's zoned as rural, not as R&D, just to be accurate with that. Okay, any other items, Deputy Mayor?
No, nothing else there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And now we'll move on to recreation and community events. So we have Councillor Buckle who's on the line, or Councillor King.
Mr. Mayor, I'll be doing the update here today for recreation and community events.
Okay, carry on, sir.
Our committee didn't get to meet now since last meeting due to we had the Rib Fest on the go, and then we had some vacation schedules that come into effect there, so we didn't meet. We're going to meet in the next couple of weeks now for our committee update. But with that being said, I do have a couple things there I'd like to bring forward. The first thing is our committee would like to say a big thank you to our summer staff who will finish up this week. Our summer program for the recreation, our camp, plus at the swimming park and our soccer program. Everything went well, and one good thing, you know what I mean, when you got these programs and stuff and the weather's on your side and you can get outdoors and avail of it, which this summer the weather has been really exceptional. So, I mean, that works in favor for especially up to our swimming park this summer. So we had a great summer that way and with the weather. And also, we got some, the Rib Fest was a big hit. We didn't get a chance to sit down as the committee yet and do up our numbers and see where everything went, but we will be doing that at our next committee meeting. But overall, it did go really well, and you know what I mean, we worked in partnership with the Children's Wish on that. So I just ask everybody to stay tuned for our next meeting where we will bring that information forward, and with the Wish also that we will be looking at. And the fall programs, there's going to be a guide. It will be in the mail in the next little while. We'll have all the planning put together for that. We're just cleaning it up. So residents will see that fall guide in the mail in the next little while. And also we have been working on our fall festival, which will be, the dates we're looking at for that will be September the 29th to October the 2nd. So we do have a little bit of stuff on the go, but we didn't have a meeting since the last one, as I indicated. But next meeting we'll update on all those topics. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. And if I could chime in with regard to the Rib Fest, obviously it was a tremendous success. I think it certainly exceeded our expectations. Fantastic food and fantastic entertainment all weekend, fantastic events for the children. It was just a resounding success. It was truly a big event. There were residents, visitors, tourists. I mean, they came from everywhere in droves. And even on Sunday afternoon, like it was just blocked down there. I mean, the numbers of people, it was just amazing. And everybody who I spoke with, who went down, and some people ate while they were there, taking some entertainment. Other people picked it up, brought it home. But everyone who I spoke with just said the ribs were just out of this world, fabulous. So overall, this event was truly an amazing success. Thank you very much to our CAO, Gary Corbett, who played a big hand in proposing this whole initiative right from the get-go. And of course, with the support of all of his staff, our recreation director, Steve was right on the heels, of course, of Squid Fest, and then to dive into Rib Fest. I tell you, Steve Martin, our recreation director, was a busy, busy man. I saw him down on the field, and he would be running around, and everybody wanted a piece. Everybody wanted to talk to Steve about something. His cell phone going mad, I tell you. But he's very patient and takes everything in stride. And thankfully, everything came together to perfection. So he pulled it off as usual, and of course the weather, well, what can we say? I mean, this summer was just absolutely phenomenal, and all of our events went off without a hitch. So again, thank you, Mr. Corbett, thank you to the staff, Steve Martin, and everybody who was affiliated, and especially our sponsors.
Mr. Mayor, before you move on, could I just make a comment there that I forgot there?
Sure, go ahead, sir.
You reached out, you know what I mean? The CEO was the one that bought this, as you were sit on the committee at our meetings. The CEO was the one that came with this idea and wanted to try it in Holyrood. So a big thank you to him and Steve and Robert with our Public Works, getting some resources down there for the Rib Fest, for generators and stuff, and his staff. And also you indicated the sponsors, but you know what I mean, and to our director Marjorie Gibbons, who looked after a lot of the sponsoring on that for that Rib Fest. So we'd like to say a big thank you to her too. And we'd like to thank everybody that come out and enjoyed the ribs and made a donation to the Children's Wish. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. And yes, our director of business and marketing, Marjorie Gibbons, of course, she just worked her magic as usual, and cannot wait to do the check presentation, because from what I understand, the Make-A-Wish are going to be very, very pleased. And I'll leak it out a little bit. It'll be more than one wish granted. So hopefully, they're still bringing in the revenue, still straightening out all the expenses and all the paperwork. But at the appropriate time in the very near future, we hope to do a check presentation here either during or prior to a regular meeting. And as Councillor Buckle just said, a resounding big thank you to our sponsors who really contributed in a big way. So all in all, kudos to everybody who played a role in this event. And I'm sure, or I feel confident, that this will become an annual event. So, okay, is that it, Councillor Buckle?
Yes.
Okay, Councillor King? No. Okay, all right. If there's nothing else on the recreation and community events, we will move on to infrastructure and public works, and we have Councillor Windsor and Councillor Sadie King, and Councillor King, the floor is yours.
The Infrastructure Committee met on August the 18th with Councillor Windsor, Mayor Gubby, Director of Infrastructure Robert Stacey, and myself in attendance. The CAO sent his regrets, he was busy at the time. So the first item on our agenda is the follow-up on the Salmon Lime emergency water system. And I think that's one of the biggest things we have on our agenda. So in order to get this, we have, Municipal Affairs have put out a request for 6 quotes to start the engineering on this project, and 6 bids were received. And today, at the end of my talk, or my facts, Steve will give the motion to award this to Englobe. Also, the new pump has been ordered for the main beach lift station at a cost of $15,809.94 plus $3,538.46 for installation. This is covered under gas tax. We also have the old pump, and we should get that repaired. So it comes to a total of $9,757.87 to rebuild the pump. But I think we should seriously discuss getting this pump fixed, because if the other one goes down, you know where we are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It costs a lot more to keep that pumped out. We also have decided to replace the water line on Tubberts Road in North Arm. So maybe at this time, if any of our councillors are involved with the bids, they could step out or whatever.
All right, I'll step back there.
Okay, Councillor Buckle is going to sign off because of a possible conflict of interest. So erring on the side of caution, Councillor Buckle decided that he would be signing off, which he has just done. And we'll let him know when he...
There's the evidence there, I guess.
I hope that's not his heart.
We'll let him know when he can come back, when he can return. Okay, carry on, Councillor
What
King.
happened with this is the town sent out for 4 quotes to 4 contractors and asked them to put in an amount for this. Whether Councillor Buckle's involved at this point, we do not know, but just to err on the side of caution, he has stepped outside. So in a few minutes now, Steve has the only bid that came in for this project, and we will open it and see what the cost is, and then we'll give it further consideration before anything is done. And if this is going to be done, then we will use the gas tax to fund it. So I'll ask Steve now to open the envelope and read whatever is there for us, and after that he'll do the motion.
Quieter than usual tonight, hey? Not used to that.
You're very quiet tonight.
Okay, the name of the contractor is John Buckle, and the amount is $47,500 tax. Now, we have to sign and date that.
Sign and date
Councillor
it
King,
and witness.
to the 23rd of August. There we go. And a pen. Excellent. Okay, so that's that. And thank you, Councillor King, for providing the update. It was excellent and very thorough and detailed, as I would expect.
Just sign the envelope also.
The envelope?
Keep the envelope.
Keep the envelope. Okay.
Councillor Windsor, before you continue, we can bring back Councillor Buckle.
Okay. There you go. Sorry about that. Yeah, so he'll have to call back in, or do we call him?
He'll call him.
No, he's gonna call me.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. CAO?
Sir?
We'll just pause for a moment and
Yeah.
wait for him to
Okay.
call back.
That's right.
So, someone would text him to tell him to rejoin?
Yes.
That's gone.
Okay.
Remember the ABC commercial? I can't see the difference. Can you see the difference?
What's that one?
The ABC commercial way back in the day. They said the twins go on. I can't see the difference. Can you
There he is.
see? There's no difference.
Go ahead, caller. Okay, just turn the volume here a little bit. Councillor Buckle. So. Mic there. Okay.
No, don't think you're going after Paddy Daly's job, are you?
It's not on, the mic is not on. There you go.
Okay, he's there.
All right.
Put my mic back on.
Curtis, can
This is
you
so much
hear us?
fun.
Yeah, all good on this end, thanks.
Okay.
Oh, you were totally supposed to say, that you, Baz?
Yeah. No, that was excellent. So,
Okay, carry on, Councillor
So
Windsor.
we'll carry on now with the business. I just want to thank Councillor King for the very thorough update, and we'd agreed to do that because at our committee meeting, I had to leave abruptly to deal with an operational issue at work, but caught up on the minutes after, and totally aligned with what was said. Thank you for helping me out on that. I'll read the motion as Councillor King had already described. And you may recall in the previous public council meeting we talked about the need for emergency readiness and advancing that file in the case of a crash scenario, which I think is really important for the residents of Holyrood to have uninterrupted water supply service, right? So I'll read the motion. Be it resolved, the Town of Holyrood accept the recommendation of municipal infrastructure to enter a contract with Englobe Corporation for project number 17-MYCW-22-0046 Salmon Line Emergency Water Supply as preferred consultants. Municipal Infrastructure issued requests for bids to 6 companies for this multi-year capital works project and received 6 responses. After completing the consultant engagement process, Municipal Infrastructure have provided the town with approval to engage Englobe as the preferred proponent at a cost of $56,793.90 HSD included. So moved.
Okay, moved by Councillor Windsor, seconded by Councillor Crowley. Further discussion? I think
Yes,
Steve,
Mr. Mayor, if I could make a comment there.
go ahead, sir.
Yeah, this motion put before us here tonight is a very important motion, when we're looking at the water supply in our town. And we as council recognize, we have to look at other sources of water and be ready for water supply within the town. I think this is a great motion here tonight, and I think it's going to add a lot to our water issues in Holyrood. As you know, we do have water issues, and we have had them over the last few years, and we had them this year. But, this motion's put before us tonight is a great motion. It's, I think council is moving in the right direction with this motion, and, knowing that there is an issue with water, and, to put this motion here tonight as through the multi-year capital works, and, the cost sharing, where all the burdens out on the town of Holyrood, I think we're doing the right thing. That's what I'd like to add, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. And if I could just add to that, of course, water is a big priority with this council. We are investing a lot of money to improve our infrastructure, a new tank, which is going to be larger than the one that's there, extending the water line into in just past walls. And by the way, I made an error at the last meeting because I said to connect with North Arm, but I forgot to put in North Arm River, so I make that correction now. And eventually that's going to lead up to, what's the name of the pond? Allen Pond, where we'll have a water treatment plant, and we'll have enough water to go on into perpetuity. But having said that, it doesn't mitigate the possibility of having leaks, and that's something else that we're addressing, is over a phased-in approach that we're going to start replacing water lines that in areas that we know have been historically problematic. But I will assure the residents that this council is placing water as a very top priority. So that's this motion, I think it without doubt is in a step in the right direction. Okay, any other questions or comments on that? The motion has been moved and seconded. All those for, those against, motion is carried. Okay, so is that it for infrastructure and public works?
Yep.
That's it? Okay, thank you very much, folks. And now we'll move on to business development and marketing. Deputy Mayor Woodford, you're up.
The Business Development and Marketing Committee, we met on August the 10th via Zoom, and there's a couple of things that we want to bring to the public's attention tonight, and it's in the form of funding, actually. So we did receive funding back last fall, I believe, for the North Arm Park. Mills and Wright prepared a design plan, and we're doing it in phases, in a phased-in approach. And right now we're going out, I believe, sometime this week with a call for bids for phase 1. Just to let the public know, this is 100% funded through a COA, which is fantastic. It's nice to be able to get something done with that area over there. It's a beautiful area. So that, as I said, is going out to 4 local companies for consideration with a deadline date of September the 8th for anyone who would like to submit a bid. And hopefully that work will then be completed this fall for that project. The other funding that we received was from Active Transportation, and that was to create a trail around the multi-purpose courts up on the Salmonair Recreation Park. Salmonair Line, Recreation Park. The funding will allow us to create a plan, and then we'll determine how we're going to go out and get bids for that funding. That will be later on the fall as well. Probably not for completion until maybe 2023, early 2023. Other than that, that's all that we're going to bring forward tonight. Just to give everyone an update, there's a lot of files that are going on within business development and marketing. They're ongoing, they're active. Our CAO, Gary Corbett, our director, Marjorie Gibbons, and all of the other directors and staff as well. Like, it's a collaborative approach in dealing with some of these files, especially getting the information that we need back to the proponents so they can have a successful business application moving through. Other than that, I don't know if there's anything else you want to add, Ian?
No, I think you covered it all, Deputy Mayor.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, if not, we will now move on to public safety. So we have Councillor Bruce King and Councillor Buckle. Councillor King.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, fellow councillors, staff, and of course, all those people tentatively listening at home.
There was 155 people viewed the last meeting, so the numbers are going up.
And I'm sure it'll be triple tonight. Anyway, the Public Safety Committee had their meeting on August 15th. Those people in attendance was myself, the Mayor, Mayor Gooby, and the Fire Chief. The CAO sent his regrets, as well as Councillor Buckle and the Public Works Director, Mr. Stacey. Some of the items that we discussed at our public safety meeting was towards the 2023 budget would be enhancing security around properties owned by the town to try to cut down or deter vandalism. And if it doesn't deter vandalism, hopefully if they do it, we might be able to actually catch them. So we're going to put that forward to Public Works and see where the best places are that it can be utilized over the next year. So, the other one that came up, and there's been a lot of talk on social media with regards to this item, is traffic calming within the town, especially on all the side roads. And we're looking at, that will also be included in this year's, or the 2023 budget, an increase in the number of speed bumps. And if you look at Route 60 around the corner up there, maybe it might not be a bad idea to put some speed bumps on Route 60 as well, okay? Because of some of the traffic that's flying back and forth. So residents are concerned. If you look at social media, I know some people don't look at social media, but I do. And there are stuff in there that you really shake your head at, but there's also stuff in there as well of legitimate concerns that people have. And I keep saying to people, it's great to put it on social media, but why don't you bring it forward to council as well? And some people are doing that, but I don't think there's enough still. But anyway, they're still getting it out on social media, and hopefully we can discuss it as well. The other thing that came up was the rescue vehicle for the fire department. There's still been no response back from the government. And I know we talked about the mayor maybe discussing it with the MHA. And I think we should also look at least that's my opinion, we should look at something very similar to what we did last night with Bell. And putting the government's feet to the fire. This is a very important vehicle. It covers a lot of people. It services the Trans-Canada Highway. It services other areas within the municipality. And I think there's time that people should move on this vehicle and make a decision on it. The other one was water supply for firefighting in an emergency. The chief has gone around and he examined all these different areas where there could be rivers where he could access water. The other thing was the tank on the north side, that it could be used in the event of an emergency for the fighting of fires. So that's something that we're going to discuss with the Public Works Director and the Public Works Committee to see if that's something that's feasible down the road.
North Arm Council.
North Arm, yes, absolutely, yeah. We're also looking at mutual aid agreements with CBS. That mutual aid agreement has been in place since 2015, and it needs to be updated. So they're looking at that as well. There's things in there that need clarification on when CBS would respond at certain things for Holyrood and vice versa. We're also looking at mutual aid agreements with Harbour Main and Avondale. So, you know, by the time this is all done, that we should have a good organization here that in the event of an emergency, people one organization can respond to help the other. And I mean, if we do have some kind of a major event, like Igor happened years ago, that's where these things pay dividends. People don't realize it now, but down the road, if you know what the fire department in Avondale has on hand, if you know what the fire department in Harbour Main or Holyrood has, people don't have to go and look around. They know exactly where all this stuff is, and they know the people to contact to make it happen. And that's, believe me, that makes all the difference in the world. There's also a response agreement with regards to the St. John's Regional, but that's also including all the Northeast Avalon, and it has to do with high angle rescue, because we don't have the capability here in Holyrood to do high angle rescue, confined space rescue, and also hazardous materials, stuff like that. So there is agreement, they're working on an agreement in place, and once that agreement is completed, it'll become forward to council, and council will be able to review it as well. The current fire ban has been lifted, but from the fire chief, people are still to use caution, because it doesn't take very long before, especially when we have days like today, 25-degree temperatures, it doesn't take very long for all that water to go out of the ground and the fire to come back. The Witless Bay emergency response coverage. In the past, the Witless Bay line was almost considered no man's land, right, where nobody wanted to go down there and nobody was responsible for it. Mm-hmm. And what would happen if you were involved in an accident, for example, on the Witless Bay line, the RCMP would go first and attend the scene, and then the RCMP would call the fire department to come, and depends on where it was, it would depend on which fire department would respond, whether it be Witless Bay line or Witless Bay or Holyrood. That has been resolved now to the point where anything from the Trans-Canada Highway down the Witless Bay line for 10 kilometers will be the responsibility of Holyrood. Anything on the Witless Bay line from the Witless Bay side up 10 kilometers, because I think it's only 20 kilometers anyway, the town of Witless Bay would respond. So that's going to make things a lot easier. Everybody is made aware of that, so when a 911 call comes in, then it will save valuable time trying to figure out who should respond to the emergency. The fire service the fire fee update. I can say that there's 900 residents or properties on the fee list, and as of today, 802 have paid. Okay, so there's only 98 left, and hopefully, and we will continue to try to encourage those 98 of the benefits of paying, whether it be the $45 or the $50, depending on where they are, that it makes perfect sense to do that. And the last one, I'm not going to get into because we had already discussed it with Bell, and that was the emergency cell coverage here. And hopefully, based on our conversations last night, hopefully that that problem, hopefully will be resolved. So at this time, I will turn it over to Councillor Buckle if he has anything that he would like to add as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Councillor Buckle.
No, I think Councillor Bruce King gave a good list of updates there from the last meeting. I didn't get there because of a work commitment to the last committee meeting. But there's a lot of stuff on the go in the department for public safety. But like the mutual aid between Harbour Main and Avondale. We're talking about being short now and looking for emergency vehicle there, and we applied to the government for that, so hopefully we'll see something on that, and we're going to follow up on it. Sometimes, our neighboring communities have equipment there that we can avail of, and vice versa, they can avail of some of the stuff for us, so I think the mutual aid agreement between Holyrood and Harbour Main and Avondale, I think can work great. And the other one is, we talked about, Councillor King talks about the speed bumps in Holyrood. This year we had a lot of requests for speed bumps on roads, and we only had so many speed bumps available, and they do cost money. So with that being said, people got to realize, speed bumps is one thing, but if there is an issue on your road, and I said it before, and if someone is speeding, the only way to deal with it, yes, we can try to get speed bumps as much as we got there and spread them out and move them around the town, but, if there's an issue on a road and if you're worried about your child's safety or whatever, try to get the information, try to get a video, try to get a picture, try to get a plate number, and pass it on to the RCMP and let them respond to, they are there, and if they've told us in previous meetings that we have with them from the public safety that they're there to help, but they need to get the information and somebody has to bring it to their attention and they will follow up on it. So that's a very important piece of this, with speeders in our community. So if people do see it, you need to report it. And that's it for me, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Buckle. Any further questions or comments? Okay, if not, we will move on to communications. Councillor Crowley.
Yep. Good evening, everyone. Communications Committee met on Tuesday, August 16th at 4:30, and in attendance was myself, Deputy Mayor Michelle Woodford, Councillor Sadie King, and Director of Business Development and Marketing Marjorie Gibbons. We're still waiting on a finalized website update. It just kind of keeps getting pushed along a little bit, but there's a little hang up on the side of e-services, so we're hoping that that's going to be rectified really soon. Our policy is coming out to council after our next meeting. So what we've done is we've taken what was the communications plan and pulled out smaller chunks to put them into policy. We mentioned this already, so that we ensure that we have something in place that everyone can refer to, everyone can be trained in on, educated on, and this is the protocol to follow with communications. So that policy will have a number, a name, and be ready to put before council after our communications next meeting. The rest of the time was mostly spent on budget items, same thing. Communications hasn't had a budget before, but we're looking in, and if need be, it'll go under different other committees. But we're looking at mail outs to get the information out, making sure that there's a steady and reliable mail out that gives communication update to all residents for all departments. And then we're also looking at communication during emergency services. So for example, we put up the water ban signs, the electronic water ban signs went up because that's fine, we're doing a mail out for all our residents, but what about all the visitors in town or people who use the marina who are not from the town of Holyrood, so they wouldn't get the mail out and possibly not going to our app or our website to get that information. So communication, of course, is one of the biggest things that we agree to as well as one of on our when we came into council. So how to get pertinent information out, especially in emergency services. Those amber alerts that you see, that kind of thing, looking at all that information. How do we get that out to our public? Where would be the best place to put it? How would we put it all in? And the other thing, so that was the signage, the mail-outs, the updates. And then the last thing in our budget would be enhancements to the website to include e-services, a portal where all our minutes from our committees would be posted and go out so that the general public would have access to not just the minutes of our public meetings, but our minutes of our other meetings, which without having to come to each of us to look for them or without having to contact the town to get them, they'd be readily available and accessible. So we'd have to come up with a format, things like that, all budget items. And we're going to start meeting in person again, which I'm super excited about because I'm tired of staring at icons. I know everyone else is, but I really don't like those black screens. So that's it for the update for communications, unless Councillor King or Councillor Woodford had anything else to add. Okay.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
that's great. Things are moving along. If there's no questions or comments on that, we will now move on to the operational review. Councillor Windsor.
Thank you, Mayor. I guess the only update the committee would like to provide at this time is that we'll be providing a notice of motion for our next public council meeting to move forward with an RFP for the operational review and strategic plan. The committee is comfortable now with the documents as we have prepared them. They've been reviewed and tweaked and adjusted. However, we have not had the opportunity to meet with our colleagues on the rest of council. So, I mean, out of respect for the input of our other councillors, we felt that it would be appropriate to wait until we have that meeting, committee of the whole, to discuss it and allow councillors the opportunity to look at the document and pose any questions of us, the committee, and we could provide those clarifications and then take the next steps. Unfortunately, due to summer schedules, we've made a couple of attempts at committee of the whole meetings, but just have been unable to do so. So that's the only update from our committee at this time.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Windsor. Any questions, comments on that? All right, if not, we will move on to corporate services and administration. And Councillor Crowley, pay some bills.
Well, I can't pay all the bills. I'm going to do an update and then I'm going to stick it and let Councillor King pay the bills. So we met, CSA met on August 18th in person. So excited. At 2:30, and myself, Councillor Bruce King was there. Director of Finance Marie Searle, CAO Gary Corbett was in attendance as well. So we are pleased to announce that we have made our way through the policy and procedure document, full head to toe, top to bottom. So all our changes have been made in the document, highlighted in the document. So our next step is we're sending it out to council in the minutes of states that we ask all of council and staff to review the changes. And then if there's any comments, questions, concerns, come back to CSA and we can update. So we're really excited to have that document move through. And Mr. CAO, you can tell it's been a couple of years in the works, right? So we're really excited to move it through. Budget was the next big thing. And one thing in particular was the public consultation piece of our budget. We're looking to promote all forms of public consultation this time. So we're going to have the option of meeting in person as previously. We are going to have an option of letter writing, so if someone wants to write in and make their concerns known for the public, for the budget as well. But we also have another possible option of doing an online survey. So the survey has been generated, a draft survey has been generated, which will go out to all of council and staff. Didn't want, like Councillor Windsor said, didn't want to inundate you just before the public meeting. So this will come out in the next couple of days. And if everyone could review it, and if everything's okay, no changes, or we can make our changes, whatever, it's pretty easy on the fly, we'll be ready to send that out to the public. And it's a way for public to be part of the process. And in the comfort of their own homes, on their phones, whatever, it's just going to be a link, follow through a couple of steps, a couple of questions, and it's hopefully more accessible public consultation process. So that will be coming out as well. Other than that, it was a review of financials, and we're ready to pay the bills, as you say, unless Councillor King has anything else that I...
No, I think this, well, no, hold on.
Tim? Okay, and I'm going to remove myself from council while we do this.
Okay, Councillor Crowley is going to remove herself from this portion of the meeting with this motion because of a possible or perceived conflict of interest. So again, in erring on the side of caution, she felt it's best that she remove herself from the meeting at this time. So I will ask Councillor King to take over from here.
Pay the bills.
Pay the bills.
Be it resolved that the accounts tabled in the amount of $263,299.04, check numbers D2661 to D2752 and 043537 to 043641 be approved for payment. So moved.
Okay, moved by Councillor Bruce King, seconded by Deputy Mayor. Further discussion? Okay, if not, all those in favor, those against, motion is carried. Okay, Councillor Crowley can return to the chamber. Councillor Crowley? You weren't out in that fridge, were you?
Not allowed in there. Over his water.
The fridge is bare. Okay, now we'll move on to new business, and I'll do the go-around, starting with Deputy Mayor Woodford.
Nothing for me this evening.
You're good. Councillor King? You're good. Councillor Crowley?
Nothing to say except Ribfest was excellent. It was so good, and I tried it all the days, all the options, everything. There wasn't one thing I missed out on, and it was deadly. So, thank you to all involved. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councillor Crowley. Councillor King, you're good. Councillor Windsor, you can wrap it up.
I got to, right? It was too quiet tonight. I was gonna let it pass, but I can't do it, right? You guys gotta hear from me. I just want, it's not new business, but I want to bookend the meeting from the mayor's update on the cell phone, right? And that's the #1 issue in this town, bar none. But I just want to acknowledge all of council, because that meeting, to expound on it just a little bit, it was a fantastic meeting, and every single councillor and the mayor contributed greatly to it. And we really did put the feet to the fire, as you said, Mayor, and the residents can feel assured of that. And a fellow told me one time, Steve, you need a good racket every now and then, keep the blood flowing, don't you? And I felt really invigorated from the meeting. I did, and I felt proud of the council for doing what, bringing the meeting, saying what was said, and calling them out on their nonsense at times and try to explain away the issues, right? So I thought we were a very united front. We escalated firmly, directly, and bluntly at times, right? So I just wanted to say that, and it reminded me, healthy reminder, why I got involved this to begin with, right? So needs another good racket now. Made a fire truck, as Councillor King said, right? So I just wanted to acknowledge that, and the good work of staff for bringing the meeting, and the councillors for contributing to the meeting. Well done. Great team effort. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Windsor. And that is...
Councillor Buckle's on the line.
Oh, I'm sorry, Councillor Buckle.
Yeah, I almost forgot about me, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it was a great meeting yesterday on the cell phone. You know what I mean? We, as a council, recognize and we hear it from our residents about the issue. You know what I mean? It's in Holyrood, but it's widespread farther than Holyrood. And I think, we had a great meeting yesterday, and they, as Councillor Windsor said, they tried to step away a few times, but then we pushed back, and you know what I mean, there's hopefully there's going to be a good follow-up come from that meeting, but it was a great meeting yesterday, there's no doubt, and thanks to everyone that had input in that meeting yesterday. Also, as the mayor indicated, you know what I mean, I'd like to say a big congratulations to Anna Penny, as he said in his remarks during his mayor's remarks. You know what I mean, congratulations to her, it's a big accomplishment, hopefully she'll do really well. And other than that, I just like to say, in general to our staff, when we are here, the summer is very busy and, we try to get a few meetings, but people are busy on holidays and work commitments and stuff. But, behind the scenes, I like to say a big thank you to our staff, who make the Rib Fest, the Squid Fest, and, these funding applications happen behind the scene and getting motions there for the Capital Works Net. With our staff behind us, they do a lot of the day-to-day operations. So, I'd like to go out and recognize our staff. And that's it for me, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Well said. The date of the next meeting is September the 20th at 5:30. And can I have a motion to adjourn, please? Moved by Councillor Bruce King, seconded by Councillor Crowley. All those in favour? Those against? Meeting is adjourned. Enjoy your evening, everyone.